The anime opens up showing us a world filled with mysterious hidden dungeons. In one of those dark dungeons, we see a boy moving forward with a sword in hand. Suddenly, he hears a girl's voice guiding him to a strange hall. When he enters, he finds a chained woman begging for help. Then the scene changes and we see the boy waking up in bed. His full name is Noir Stardia, and he's the third son of a low-ranking noble family called Baronet. After finishing high school, he decided to start working instead of continuing his studies. Ready for his first day, he goes downstairs for breakfast and finds his parents very worried. His dad tells him that the son of a viscount took the job at the library he was going to take. Given their low social status, they can't do anything about it. Just then, his sister arrives furious at the injustice and comforts him with a hug. She suggests he enroll in the Hero Academy, arguing that if he fails, she'll take care of him. Noir's sister insists that if he manages to graduate from the Hero Academy, his future will be secured by becoming a knight or hunter. Although Noir doesn't believe he can pass the entrance exam, he gives in to his sister's insistence and agrees to enroll. Later, on the way home, Noir runs into his childhood friend Emma. She belongs to a wealthy family, but her parents are friends with Noir's, so they've known each other since they were little. Emma is excited because today would have been her first day working with Noir at the library. However, he tells her what happened with the Viscount's son who took the job from him. Emma is very sad, as she was looking forward to working with him and also wanted to give him some good news about Noir's special ability. Noir explains that his only ability is Great Sage, which allows him to summon an old man who can answer any question about the world. It's a very strange and unique power. Emma encourages him, saying his ability could be very useful if he develops it properly. She recommends trying it out and practicing before the Hero Academy entrance exam. Noir feels unsure, but agrees to give it a try. Emma then tells him the good news. She read that the last great sage would relieve his pain by kissing his wives, so she suggests to Noir that they kiss. He, blushing, takes her hand and slowly leans in towards her. But just as he's about to kiss her, Emma stops him and says they better go somewhere more private for their first kiss. They go up to the highest tower and Emma indicates she's ready. Noir grabs her shoulders and kisses her. Then she encourages him to summon the sage. Noir does the summoning and asks the old man what is the best way to get stronger to pass the Hero Academy entrance exam. The sage responds that he must explore a hidden dungeon 15,000 meters to the southeast. But before giving more details, the summoning abruptly ends. Upon seeing Noir suffer from headache again, Emma offers to kiss him once more to relieve his pain. Noir arrives at the cave entrance with all the equipment necessary for his mission. He even borrowed his father's sword. Further ahead, he finds a large door and manages to open it with a sage's spell. Upon entering, he realizes he's in the same scene from the beginning, inside the dark dungeon. He approaches the chained woman, Olivia, who had guided him to that hall. She recounts that she's been that way because she entered the dungeon alone and found a monster, but when she killed it, a trap was activated. For that reason, she has been trapped in that dungeon for 200 years. At this, Noir is shocked and tries to free her. However, she tells him not to attempt it since those chains are special shackles, and if he cuts them, she will die. After this, Olivia tells him that she guided him there because she felt very lonely and wanted to talk to someone. Then she says she will transfer all her powers to him, since she can't use them while chained up. After transferring her abilities, Olivia tells the protagonist he can now call her Master. She explains he can create any skill he imagines and bestow them on others. He also has the gift of editing, to modify his own or others' capabilities. However, she warns him to be careful using his new powers, as they consume life points. More powerful skills use more points. And after this, Olivia explains to him that to gain life points, he must do things that make him feel very good, like satisfying his carnal desires with someone he's attracted to. He can also gain life points by eating delicious or luxurious things. And lastly, there's greed. He can also gain and spend money for the same effect. After training, exhausted, he thinks of ways to gain life points. In a scene change, he hugs his sister and sees his points increase. On the first day at the Hero Academy, Noir notices he is surrounded by viscounts who look down on him for just being a baronet. Because of this, no one wants to team up with him for the first mission, which is to collect monster materials. Noir feels sad and called trash, but at that moment Emma arrives, deciding to team up with him. She tells him she gave up her job at the library to be with Noir at the academy. A girl named Leonore also joins, though she too looks down on Noir for his low rank. The professor gives them until morning to turn in the materials. Noir overhears others planning to just buy them, having the advantage of wealth. Leonore says they'll work separately. Then Noir gets an idea. In the dungeons, there are different monsters they can defeat and collect many materials from. He goes back to the dungeon and encounters Death, an enemy at level 99, much more powerful than Noir's level 23. In the battle, Death attacks Noir with his scythe. Noir tries to use a power, but he doesn't have enough life points, and doing so would kill him. So he uses a weak power to stop Death for a few seconds, although this greatly weakens Noir and he falls to his knees. With his last effort, Noir manages to destroy Death, leveling up to 33. He then asks his master if this is enough to pass the test, and she confirms that it is. The next day, the professor announces the results. Noir's group came in first place with 10 times more points than second place, thanks to Death's skull. Noir, Emma, and Leonore are shocked. They never believed they would win. Noir's family happily receives the news, but the joy fades when they see the 300,000 real tuition fee, impossible to pay. Noir doesn't know where they'll get that money. Noir goes to the dungeon and tells his master about the tuition price. She suggests he make money by killing monsters and selling materials, but Noir doesn't want to draw more attention after the exam, so he let Leonore take credit for defeating Death. The master then tells him the only option is to join the Adventurers Guild. Noir goes to the castle to register and meets Lola, the receptionist, who explains the ranks and job types. Some harvest, others kill monsters, and some explore dungeons. She gives him a sheet to write his skills and determine his initial rank. These are classified by ranks that determine which missions they must take and how much money they'll make. She also explains that if he does good work, he could move up in rank. Noir is nervous, but Lola approaches and tells him to chill, that this info is classified and won't leave the guild. He's dazzled by how good she looks. Lola thinks he's lying about his skills. She explains this place is called Odin, Olivia Servant's guild. He asks if she means his master, but catches himself. Lola says guys like him come around pretending to be Olivia's successors. She pulls out a book to check if he's truthful, asks him to put his hand on it. If he's legit, his abilities will appear. He's confident, bets her. If it's true, she'll do as he asks. Lola's surprised to see he really is the successor. She keeps her word after losing the bet. He gets pumped and powers up. Later he says he needs 300K in a week for tuition. She gives him a mission to catch bugs, but with his skills he'll ace it no sweat. She comes close and whispers that capable men are attractive to her. In another scene, Noir hesitates to summon the sage to look for bugs since it gives him killer headaches. He thinks kissing Emma would ease the pain. Noir decides to summon the sage without relying on Emma. The old man tells him where the nearest bugs are. Noir says the headache is bearable, so he starts the hunt immediately. He finds the first bug when Emma shows up, mad that Noir didn't tell her he went to the guild to become an adventurer. He replies he kept it secret to avoid endangering her. Emma reminds him not to forget their childhood promise to be together until death. To reassure her, Noir says he no longer needs to kiss her since he built up a tolerance to the headaches. Hearing this, Emma becomes very sad. However, Noir tells her they've known each other since they were kids, so kissing as a friendly greeting wouldn't be too weird. Afterward, they collect a ton of locusts. Later, Lola brings the 250K payment. Seeing all that cash, Noir gets pumped since he's never held so much money before, though he still needs to earn another 50K for tuition. Later on, Lola tells Noir that if he continues like this, he'll soon rank up, and then she assigns him his next task. At this point, Emma becomes very jealous, seeing how Lola is insinuating herself towards Noir and talking to him up close. Here, we see that both girls begin to quarrel because they both like Noir. Seeing this, the other adventurers get excited because they want a fight to start between the girls. However, Noir says something sweet to each girl to calm them down. Afterward, Lola approaches Noir and suggests having dinner together someday after work. This angers Emma, as she sees that Lola continues to flirt with him right in front of her. Later, we see them walking through the meadow, and Emma is very upset. She tells Noir that if he has dinner with Lola, she might drag him into a room, and as she says this, we see that Noir is very interested in what she's telling him. Later, they search for a rabbit damaging the ecosystem. If they catch it, they'll get paid 50,000, the rest of the tuition money. Some goblins appear and attack. Then the giant rabbit shows up. Noir tells Emma to back off, but she wants to defeat it so Lola won't flirt with Noir if he completes the mission. The rabbit attacks Emma, but she dodges it. It leaps at her, but Noir saves her with his power, blasting the rabbit away. They hide in the woods, and Noir realizes Emma is sad for not being strong enough to kill the rabbit. To help her, he uses his eye power and sees how much XP he'd need to boost Emma's strength, but it's too many points to use. So he tells her that to make her stronger, he needs something in exchange. To this, she responds that she will do whatever it takes to defeat the rabbit. He asks Emma to allow him to nibble on her ear. Hearing this, she becomes very nervous, but practically agrees. With her new powers, Emma manages to defeat the rabbit. In the next scene, they give Lola the rabbit's horn as proof they killed it. Lola is surprised Emma did it without help. The two girls become friends and apologize for being rude when they first met. Lola congratulates Noir on now being able to enter the academy since he has the money for tuition. Noir is moved to see all the adventurers shouting his name and congratulating him for getting into the hero school. He's grateful and thinks it's all been possible thanks to his master, Olivia Servant. We see her spirit is present and feels proud. In another scene, Noir and Emma pay their enrollment fees. As they leave the academy, Emma says to bow his head in reverence because the daughter of the famous Duke Albert is passing by. Seeing her, Noir feels curious and uses his power to view her abilities. He's surprised to notice she has a curse that will kill her when she turns 16. The next day, Noir wakes up for his first day at the academy. His sister is very affectionate and asks for a hug. Just then, his father opens the door and looks uncomfortable seeing his children embracing. Later, Emma waits for him outside his house to walk together. As they walk, she asks for a high five. Then they go into a forest and kiss. Upon arriving at school, Noir mentions that everyone wears a medal with their noble title, indicating their economic level. They enter the classroom and everyone looks down on Noir for being a noble. In contrast, the boys approach Emma because she's pretty and of a higher level. Maria, the Duke's daughter, enters the classroom. Noir is dazzled, thinking she's unattainable. However, Maria addresses him by his full name. Everyone is astonished that she knows him. Maria says she's honored to meet him and hopes to get along well. She also greets Emma, though it's the first time they speak. Maria leaves, saying they'll see each other later. A boy who had scorned Noir now is friendly with him, but Noir tells him he's not interested and leaves with Emma. In the next scene, they're in their first fighting class. The teacher reveals that before becoming a teacher, she was a mercenary from the age of 7. She then turns to the boys and tells them that she won't let them leave until she is satisfied. After this, the teacher calls Noir to kick off the self-defense course. With a smile, she asks him to attack her with all his strength, assuring that he won't be able to touch her. Noir charges with his sword, but she retreats with a movement so swift that it leaves everyone stunned. Then, she explains this move called retreating as the first technique they must master. Noir thinks that with his skills, he'll be able to do it easily. However, the teacher attacks him so quickly that he doesn't have time to defend himself. After recovering from the pain, the teacher offers him a playful deal. If he can retreat correctly, she will give him something he's sure to like. The other students express their envy, joking about wanting to be rewarded too. Then, Noir decides to use his skills to improve his retreat. The teacher launches another attack with her wooden sword, but this time, Noir manages to retreat correctly. Both he and the teacher are surprised, and with a mischievous smile, Noir asks for his reward. Noir finds out he needs 8,000 points to remove her curse, and he only has 2,000. He summons the great sage seeking a solution, and the sage proposes an odd trial. The sage's idea is unusual. Noir must complete an obstacle course while interacting with his female classmates in a particular playful way. Though the proposal is strange, the sage insists. Noir hesitates, aware the task seems nearly impossible, and the points gained wouldn't be enough to save the girl. Plus, he feels there's no way to convince his classmates to participate in the trial. After the summoning, he's left with a bad headache and asks Emma for a kiss to soothe it. Though initially reluctant, Emma agrees, impressing their classmates. However, the teacher is angry at the disruption and punishes Noir by making him run laps. Noir and Emma are going to speak with Lola, the receptionist, but when they enter, she rushes to the bathroom to put on makeup, as she did not expect to see Noir that day. Noir tells Lola about Maria's curse, and she suggests that her friend Luna could help since she has the power to dispel evil. However, Lola mentions that she can no longer remove cursed abilities. Next, Noir asks Lola to introduce him to Luna, and the scene changes with Lola going to the temple to speak with Luna. Outside, there is a long line of the sick seeking her help, and those treated by her are healed. When Lola enters, she finds Luna resting, having lost much energy healing people. After apologizing for disturbing her, Lola tells her something important. Meanwhile, Noir visits his mentor in the dungeon, who is angry that he has not seen him for 2 weeks. He explains Maria's curse, and she advises that it should be Luna who helps him. It seems very difficult to attain that amount of power points to be able to heal her. She also tells him that Luna is an elf, and satisfying his desires with different species will grant him more life points. Excited about this, Noir asks how to earn 10,000 life points, and she teaches him a technique called Lucky Pervert for 300 life points. With this, he'll have unforgettable experiences. He then runs into Emma, but as he walks toward her, he trips over a cat, and his face falls onto her chest, automatically increasing his life points. The scene then shows Noir earning points with nearby girls, explaining that the Lucky Pervert skill triggers situations with the girls around him. Despite enjoying this, Noir edits the skill so it doesn't happen all the time, or in serious situations. Later, Lola arrives with Luna, who watches Emma scolding Noir for looking at the girls. Luna tells her friend that Noir looks very cute and that he could be her type. Upon meeting her, Luna asks them to follow her to discuss Maria's matter. As they follow her, Emma tells Noir that Luna is beautiful and has long legs. He laments not having met her sooner. As they eat at a restaurant, Luna tells them that she once examined Maria but decided not to remove the curse. She tells Noir directly that although she can easily eliminate the curse, she should not do it. She comments that Maria only has a few weeks left to live and is suffering greatly. Noir realizes that Luna is sad and feels responsible, so he uses his analytical eye ability and discovers why Luna cannot heal Maria. He sees that among her abilities it says removing a curse reduces her own lifespan. Luna asks him to take her to Maria's house to heal her, but Noir wants to speak with her alone first. He mentions that he knows the problem of why she cannot heal Maria. Still, Luna firmly tells him that she wants to do it. She tells them that her mother used to heal everyone but died from removing curses, which greatly shortened her lifespan. Luna proudly comments that although her mother abandoned her as a child, she helped many people. Suddenly something explodes nearby and they quickly go over. When they arrive, they see an injured child under debris. Luna heals him but is left without energy. Noir carries her as she cries unashamedly, saying she doesn't want to die. Noir doesn't understand why Luna is suddenly so cowardly, but sees that her weaknesses say she loses energy and becomes cowardly. When she recovers, Luna is very embarrassed because they saw her in that moment of weakness. She tells them they must go heal Maria, but she trembles with fear because she knows she'll die like her mother if she removes the curse. Lola approaches Luna and sincerely apologizes for not having understood her situation before. Later, Noir directly tells the girls that he reviewed Luna's skills and realized she can save Maria without sacrificing herself. But to achieve it, she needs many life points and doesn't have enough. He clearly explains everything he must do to obtain those life points. Then he bluntly asks them if they can think of anything to earn 2,000 PV and improve Luna's finances, since if she has money, she can discount her wealth instead of her years of life. There, Lola mentions she has a great idea to make money. It consists of going to the Nobles event called Pride Day. In the next scene, they arrive at that place. The host directly explains that the men can show off their girlfriends and win 1,000,000 coins. We see that the audience is wearing masks, unabashedly shouting that those men are lucky and must die. Lola tells them that the host created this event because many women betrayed him, just like the resentful crowd attending without a partner. There we see Noir, frightened, saying he wants to go home. Then the event starts and it's the first participant's turn. A man with 3 girlfriends in a contest. That's what's happening here. The audience examines them for flaws, and the criticism is harsh. There are mockeries and tears, and even the kiss he gives one of his girlfriends becomes a subject of ridicule. The night continues with more groups being judged mercilessly. But Group 9, with its beautiful girls, leaves the audience speechless. That's when Noir and his team take the stage. Emma is nervous, but a few words get her ready. Praises and lewd comments fly as the girls make their appearance. And yes, they achieve the highest score in the country, but it's not over yet. The final part of the competition is a bit wild. They must satisfy everyone. Though it seems unfair, the girls take on all kinds of challenges and earn admiration and a bit of envy from everyone in the room. The last challenge is a kiss, and this is where the host gets emotional and begins to cry, remembering his own love story. He then throws the money at the winners and yells at them to get out. Outside the venue, Noir and the girls run, dodging food thrown by the audience. Outside the Coliseum, Noir still can't believe what he's done. It feels like a real harem, and on top of that, he's won lots of money and life points. Maria remains very ill, and the doctor is not optimistic. Noir and the girls arrive at the mansion and find Maria's assistant crying. They calm her down, assuring her that there's time to save her. Maria's sad story is revealed. A curse, cast by a sorcerer that her grandfather defeated, has condemned her since she was little. She has lived life to the fullest, enrolling in the academy and living a normal life, but knowing that at 16 years old, the curse would arrive. But the guys are not going to let her die, and they discuss the options. Luna explains why she can't heal her. But Noir has a plan. He can redirect the damage from the curse towards his finances instead of her life, and with the extra money they earned, that won't be a problem. The assistant confesses that Maria always knew Noir was special. He is surprised that Maria noticed his abilities. At that moment, Maria wakes up, and upon seeing Noir, thanks him for being the only kind one to her at the academy and kisses him. Later, Luna tells him it's time to remove the curse, and after a very painful process, she successfully expels the evil entirely. Her mother cries tears of joy, and Lola and Emma celebrate together. After this, Maria thanks Luna for saving her with her powers. However, Luna replies that on the contrary, she is the one who should be thankful, as she feels tremendous relief for having been able to lift her curse. Immediately after, Maria takes Noir's hands and tells him that she doesn't know how to thank him and that she will be indebted to him for the rest of her life. Upon leaving the house, he reflects on how good he feels for having helped her. But then, Emma and Lola become concerned because Maria has fallen in love with Noir. Therefore, they now have another rival. At that moment, Luna tells them that she too has fallen under his spell. The three girls then accuse him of being a womanizer. Then, in a change of scene, Noir visits his teacher. There he thanks her once again because, thanks to the abilities she granted him, he can now help others. After this, she tells him he smells like women, to which he replies that he's kissed several girls. Upon hearing this, Olivia remarks that it's unfair he's kissed so many girls but has never kissed her, so she asks him to do it. Noir then leans in, but instead of giving her a real kiss, he kisses her on the forehead. However, she tells him to practice more with the other girls next time. The next day, we see that the Duke, as a token of gratitude for saving his daughter, has gifted each of them a chest with 100 million coins. At this point, Noir comments that he doesn't know what he'll do with all that money. They suggest to him that he could open a monster material shop, but the girls start to argue about who will help Noir in his new store. He quickly tells them he wants some peace and runs off. Later on, he talks with his family and shares that with this money, they can open a shop for objects and materials. Moreover, he will personally take charge of gathering the necessary materials for the shop by hunting monsters. Later, he tells his father to find a good spot and prepare the legal paperwork. But he makes it clear that he doesn't trust him with the money, fearing he'll blow it all at the casino. So, he'd rather have his mother watch over it, ensuring it's not wasted. Afterward, he heads to the dungeon to gather materials and become stronger. There, his master advises him to equip himself with all the necessary skills. Upon descending the first floor, a lion with a flower on its head appears. Noir is frightened and tries to flee, but the lion assures him it won't harm him, it merely wants to tell him something important. Noir is taken aback that the lion can talk, but agrees to listen. The lion offers to take him to the 6th floor if he's searching for someone. Noir accepts and hops on its back, and the lion quickly runs to the 6th floor. The lion kills insects along the way, astonishing Noir with its strength. It then reveals its name is Leo, a name given by a friend, and it's proud of it. Leo needs Noir to find his friend, telling the tale of how they entered the dungeon, with his friend leaving him on the 5th floor as he ventured to the 6th. It's been 350 years, and he never returned. But Leo, loyal to his word, never went looking. His friend, an elf, could live 500 years. So Leo waits on the 5th floor while Noir heads up to the 6th. Arriving, he finds it dark with zombies chasing him, shedding parts of their bodies. Relief washes over Noir as he escapes through a door. But then he encounters a different-looking zombie. Suddenly, Noir realizes that the zombie is actually the lion's elf friend. He uses 500 power points to cure him of his zombification, turning him back into an elf. Noir then explains the lion's story and its 350-year wait, moving the elf to tears for failing his friend. The elf shares how they became friends after Leo saved him, naming him Leo, a name the lion adored. They were inseparable friends, living many adventures together, but the guilt of making Leo wait eats at the elf. Upon reuniting, they embrace, and Leo expresses his joy that the elf is well. The elf mentions it's best to leave the dungeon but reveals his homeland doesn't accept other races. Understanding they must part, the elf feels guilty for making Leo waste years. With tears, he apologizes, but Leo reassures him. Noir uses a portal to leave, allowing the friends to talk privately. Saying goodbye, the elf promises to visit, reminiscing about fun times. Leo thanks Noir and heads back to the 5th floor for something forgotten. Following him, Noir sees the lion crying, admitting that even though he prepared, parting still hurts. Noir empathizes and offers his friendship, inviting Leo to live with him. The lion accepts, thrilled to become his friend and guardian. We see Leo running with Noir, feeling the wind on his face for the first time in ages, realizing why he waited so long for the elf. Destiny had a new great friend in store. Leo rushes to his new home with Noir, excited for what's to come. Then Noir and Emma head to class. The teacher walks in and announces their first exam. The task, to collect strange materials from monsters within a maximum of 2 weeks. Everyone is worried since the required materials are notoriously hard to find and aren't available in the market. After class, Noir and Emma decide to seek Lola's help for clues on how to find those materials. But upon arriving at the guild, they find Lola in the middle of an argument with another receptionist named Sarah, accusing her of stealing her adventurers. Here we learn that receptionists have many adventurers under their charge, and by successfully completing missions, they earn points and rewards. But Lola accuses Sarah of luring her adventurers with seduction, tempting them to switch sides. So Sarah challenges Lola to a duel, and Lola accepts but with one condition. If she wins, she'll poach one more adventurer. After this, she approaches Noir, hinting that she'd love to have him under her care, promising him a promotion to a higher rank. At that moment, Noir uses his analytical eye ability and discovers that all of Sarah's skills focus on seduction. He gets nervous, understanding why she's so popular among the guild's men. Amidst all this, Emma and Luna notice Noir's distraction, laughing and speculating that he must be thinking of getting into mischief with Sarah. After the girl leaves, Noir continues to daydream about what it would be like if Sarah were to become his receptionist if Lola loses the duel. However, he commits to helping her, on the condition that she first assigns them high-level missions to obtain the needed materials. Then Luna offers to join them, revealing that she's also an adventurer in her free time. Later, the action moves to the mountain where the dragons reside. Upon arrival, Noir invokes the Great Sage to locate the nearest dragon, who informs him that one is about 665 meters away. A sharp headache hits him, but Emma quickly kisses him, arousing Luna's jealousy. They explain that the kiss is a necessary remedy for his migraines, and then they set about preparing traps. Noir ventures into a cave and finds a sleeping dragon, waking it with a stone, and the dragon falls into the trap. Together, the girls and Noir slay the dragon with their spears. In a transition, they deliver the materials to the academy, causing astonishment among the students when they discover they've killed a dragon. They then take the rest of the dragon to the Adventurers Guild, where the surprise is repeated since a dragon hasn't been seen in years. Thanks to this feat, Lola significantly increases her points as a receptionist. But Sarah insists on adding her points, and it turns out she's still ahead of Lola. Lola accuses Sarah of cheating, and at that moment, adventurers, looking like zombies from their exhaustion, enter the scene. Everyone realizes that Sarah manipulates them with rewards in exchange for getting her an exorbitant amount of materials. In a private room, Lola takes Noir and offers him some coupons that allow him to request any favor. Excited, Noir decides to use them immediately. Gently, Lola gives him a special treatment to comfort and strengthen him for his future adventures. Between laughs and shared moments, he assures her that he will always be there for her whenever she wants. Then the scene changes, and Noir is talking with his mentor Olivia about Lola's competition with Sarah and how to help Lola win. Olivia suggests looking for rare materials on the 7th floor of the dungeon and advises him to strengthen himself with new skills. On his way, Noir fights against zombies, discovering that his power has grown. Upon arriving on the 7th floor, a surprising forest awaits him. In a tree, he sees a girl who reminds him of Emma as a child, and when observing some wolves, Noir retreats, but the girl appears, revealing herself as a spirit of the forest. There she insists that she is willing to do anything he asks if he helps her with something, And with that, Noir remembers the professor who told him about these spirits in class. The girl comments that since she is a tree, she can extend her roots and know everything that is happening in that forest. For this reason, she knew what Noir's powers were as soon as he arrived. And then she confesses that she has that appearance because she thought he would like it. However, he blushes. Noir and Lori make a deal. She needs help defeating a monster that is absorbing her mana, and he wants to know how to get to the treasure on the 8th floor of the dungeon. But it's not that easy. There is a golden mutant bee, and it's 4 times stronger than Noir. Meanwhile, Noir looks at the bee's abilities. It is terrifying, and simple contact could be fatal. But he cannot leave Lori, especially when he sees her suffering. Lori thanks Noir for listening to her, and is willing to show him the way, even if he decides not to help her. But he is not going to abandon her. He shouts that he won't abandon her, even less so when she is suffering. Right after, Noir bites his lip in frustration, and the girl kisses him. After feeling embarrassed, Noir's power points increase, and he has an idea. He goes to Olivia and tells her about Lori. She makes fun of him because she thinks he likes Lori, but Olivia suggests staying away since he can't defeat the bee monster. He insists, and Olivia gives him an alternative to beat it. Back on the 7th floor, thanks to Lori, they find the bee's nest. Noir devises a plan to lure these wolves to the nest. At first, everything seems to go well, but upon arriving, the bee has weakened Lori and she is unconscious. Noir attacks the bee with his sword, but the power is low and he doesn't manage to hurt it. He shoots lightning bolts at it, but the bee dodges the attacks. He gets the idea to edit the target and make the wolves attack the bee, but it easily kills them. Noir remembers Olivia's suggestion and combines water with lightning, managing to kill the bee. He carries Lori, while she thanks him for saving her. She takes him to the treasure chests, where there are only 2 strange objects. Using the analytical eye ability, Noir sees that they are treasures useful for the girls. He says goodbye to Lori, telling her that he will bring her something delicious. On his way back, he gifts an object to Lola. In the guild, the competition begins and Lola barely wins. Sarah does not accept it and accuses Lola of cheating. Lola responds that without proof, she can't accuse her, leaving Sarah speechless. Noir consoles Sarah, and she gives him her address, making Lola jealous. Noir tells us that peace returned to the guild. In another scene, he gifts Emma the other object to improve her skills, and she is very grateful for the present. Noir realizes that Emma feels sad. She invites him to a party, and faced with his indecision, she tells him he's a fool for not caring if he loses her. He goes home and finds his family crying because no one rented them a place for the store he wanted to open. This is because Noir's family belongs to one of the lowest levels of society, and here we understand the reason for Noir's hesitation in attending the party with Emma. He is unsure of how others will perceive him. Later, Noir is at the party, elegantly dressed in a suit bought for the occasion. Emma's parents approach to greet him and express their joy at seeing him after so long. Emma's father asks him if he's aware of the dance, and Noir mentions that Emma had told him something about it. Then Emma appears, and Noir blushes when he sees how beautiful she looks. But at that moment, the celebration is interrupted by the Count, who addresses the guests with a very important announcement. He has very important information that there is a plan underway to steal a highly valuable object, but he does not know who is behind it. However, security at the party is tight, but it turns out Emma is also the target of the bandits. Despite not knowing how to dance, Noir wins a dance duel against Mike, a boy who is interested in Emma and despises Noir for his social status. Noir surprises everyone by dancing. They are the couple of the night. Just when Noir is about to kiss Emma, the lights go out and Emma is kidnapped. But together with the adventurer Layla, after an intense battle and using their special skills, they defeat the enemies and rescue Emma. Later they discover that the leader of the assailants is in love with Emma, and therefore kidnapped her to force her to marry him, but they also manage to defeat him. In the end, everyone thanks Noir for his bravery. They also tell him that he will obtain a reward for this. In a change of scene, Noir recounts that in gratitude, the Count helped them get a place for their shop. Even the rent for that location will cost 10 times less than what it would normally be worth. After this, Noir's mother and sister comment that they will take care of the decoration, while the father will do all the cleaning. There, Emma hugs him and tells him that she also wants to help in the shop. The teacher introduces Layla as the new girl in class, and Noir can't believe they are now classmates. Later, since Layla already knows them, the teacher asks them to sit together. leaving all the boys envious because now Noir has Emma and the new girl. Later on, a special outdoor day at the hot springs is announced. The teacher mentions that the place is peaceful, but warns them to watch out for monsters along the way. The boys are eager to see Emma bathing outdoors, so she and the other girls ask Noir to prevent the other boys from peeking. As they walk, a fairy appears, and the girls are charmed, but Noir realizes that the fairy can control monsters and deceive people. The fairy tells them that she knows a shortcut to the hot springs and guides them to a cave. Noir is already suspicious and on guard, drawing his sword, but the fairy asks him to put it away, saying that she's afraid of violence. Then Noir notices holes in the walls and accuses the fairy of controlling monsters to attack them. Upon discovering her plan, the fairy drops the facade. Next, we see an army of armed monsters controlled by her emerging from the holes. However, the students defeat them with ease, driven by their strong desire to reach the hot springs. Upon arrival and entering the hotel, the owner tells them that the women's and men's baths are separate. The boys then plot to sneak a peek and ask Noir to join them, but he refuses, honoring the girls' trust that he would not allow them to be spied upon. Suddenly, they start to chase him, calling him a traitor, and head toward the hot springs where the girls are. But then the teacher appears and raises an earth wall against which they collide. At that moment, one boy begins to transform, and while this is happening, he comments that he spent all his savings to increase his muscle mass. There, Noir tries to reason with him, arguing that it's unnecessary to go through all this just to see their female classmates bathing. However, the boy calls Noir a traitor and attacks him. During the scuffle, Noir manages to defeat him by throwing him to the ground. Yet another classmate dashes quickly to enter, so Noir runs after him to catch him. But the boy is very fast and makes it into the pool, followed by Noir. With his eyes closed, he tells the girls to get out of the water, and when he hears no response, he opens his eyes and realizes that they are all dressed, as the teacher had ordered them not to undress, testing Noir to see if he would join the boys' mischief. Immediately after, he faints in the water, having used much of his energy to stop them. Then, in a scene change, he wakes up and is in the pool with his female classmates. He approaches the teacher and asks her not to remove the towel from her waist or eyes. He then mentions that she shouldn't worry about anything else since he has locked all the boys up. Subsequently, he tells her that as a reward for preventing the boys from spying, he'll be allowed to bathe with them. Noir tells us that he gained over 10,000 life points that night. Later, Noir takes a moment to reflect on everything he's achieved, thanks to the powers granted by his master Olivia. Switching scenes, he goes to the dungeon to visit her, determined to free her, but she urges him not to worry about saving her. However, he insists and summons the Great Sage, who, although not telling him how to remove her chains, indicates that he will find a clue on the 15th floor of the dungeon. Noir heads there, but on the 14th floor, he encounters a challenging test and two paths, one for two people and another for one person alone. He decides to take the path for one person, a narrow route where falling means being impaled by sharp spikes and without being able to use his abilities. Realizing he can't overcome the challenge, he goes to talk to Emma, and they meet in a park. He confesses everything to Emma about the dungeon, how he obtained his powers from Olivia, and why he needs to free her. Emma assures him of her support in whatever he does. Then Noir takes Emma to the dungeon to take the two-person path, thinking it will be easier and simpler to overcome than the narrow way. Later on, Noir and Emma enter a hall and encounter many goblins armed with knives, demanding weapons and food. He pulls out cookies using his dimensional pocket power. The goblins taste the cookies and love them, but when they ask for more, he poisons them and the creatures die upon eating them. Upon reaching the 15th floor, they find Olivia and are surprised at how she got there. Emma breaks the chains with her power, but they realize that it's not Olivia, and it's an imposter. The imposter attacks, but Emma dodges and counterattacks with a fire dragon punch. A kick knocks Emma down, but they manage to escape through a portal. They appear next to the real Olivia, who shows jealousy towards Emma. After introductions, they explain what happened, and Emma asks for the clone's weak point. Olivia jokes about not revealing it out of jealousy, but finally insists that they not risk their lives for her. Noir feels regretful for not being able to help Olivia as she has helped him. Back in the village, Emma decides to talk to a historian friend of her father's to discover the master's weak point and thus destroy her copy. The next day at the library, they discover that the sacrifice ability can eliminate the imposter. he uses 10,000 life points to gain this new ability. As he walks down the street, he encounters Olivia's clone, who reveals her mission to kill him and how she also makes Olivia suffer. Quickly, he uses his power of sacrifice, boosting his power, and fires a beam, but the imposter dodges it and wounds him in the chest. She approaches to kill him, and at that moment, Olivia feels the boy's suffering, and she recalls a tragic event from 200 years ago. In her memory, a boy insisted on being her disciple. Olivia resisted but began to grow fond of him. Tragically, the boy died, and Olivia cried at his grave, feeling guilty. She spent many years in loneliness in the dungeons until she found Noir, who reminded her of her deceased disciple, and for that reason, she agreed to be Noir's master and give him her powers, so that what happened to her previous disciple wouldn't happen to him. Back in the present, Noir is about to be killed by the clone, but Emma appears and kicks her with force. Lola and Luna are furious because Olivia's copy severely wounded Noir. Then Luna fires a healing spell, and Layla arrives to support Noir, thanking the girls but warning them about the strength of the clone. Despite this, they are determined to repay Noir's favor. The girls attack, but the clone proves to be very powerful. Noir realizes that he hasn't recovered yet due to a special attack from the clone. As she approaches the fallen Emma, Lola intervenes with barrels, and Luna heals the girls. Using his editing ability, Noir nullifies the power of the clone's sword, and Layla breaks it, but the clone counterattacks, knocking Layla to the ground. The clone casts a spell that incapacitates the girls, and Noir finds out that she has edited his abilities to slow him down. Desperate, he throws a stone bullet, only to receive a blow to the chest as the clone is worsening all his abilities. The clone urges him to surrender, calling him pathetic. This ignites Noir's determination, and he uses the power of sacrifice again. He attacks with all his might, but realizes that the clone's skin is incredibly tough. The clone rages, hitting him repeatedly and throwing him far away. She creates a giant fire dragon, astonishing Noir with her remaining energy. The clone screams for him to die and unleashes her power. At that critical moment, Noir thinks of the girls who trust him. He finds the courage, stands up and slices the dragon into two halves with his sword. Then, with the sword wrapped in flames, Noir pierces the clone's head, revealing its original form, a magical chain that imprisons Master Olivia. That explains its tough skin. After cursing Noir, the clone is destroyed. Exhausted and almost out of life points, Noir falls to his knees. The girls approach, and he quickly recovers all his LP. He narrates how, after defeating the deadly chains, he went to see Olivia. After breaking the chains, Olivia leaves the dungeon, and Noir finds her in the field, watching the sunrise for the first time in 200 years. Seeing him, she confesses that she is finally free. Noir sheds tears of joy and runs to hug her, crying like a child. He asks her why she never told him that the chains tortured her. Olivia replies that she didn't want to pressure him. She thanks him, acknowledging that without him she would have been trapped forever. Noir responds that meeting her changed his life. Later, in front of the dungeon doors, he expresses his desire to surpass floor 15 and keep advancing. Olivia suggests that if he reaches floor 100, he might become as strong as her. While she waits outside, Noir opens the enormous dungeon doors, ready to embark on a new adventure.